Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. Feel good Friday morning on the Smooth Breakfast. My name is Ayokunmi. We're time to get you into the world of business and talk about all the business news making around, specifically talking about crypto this morning. Probably wondering why. I'll explain to you in a bit. Welcome along to Business Express, brought to you by InterSwitch. And it's going to be that sort of Friday morning where we talk about Nigeria's SEC seeking to license crypto exchanges. Yes. I didn't think that this would actually come, but hey, here we are right now. But to make sense of it all and give us a little bit of clarity into what's going on actually is my very special guest this morning in the person of Adeyemi Lanre, the founder and chief visionary officer at Accendis. Very good morning to you, Lanre. Great to have you on Business Express.
Hi, good morning, Naya. It's good to be here, as always.
All right, absolutely fantastic. For all our listeners out there, you can join us on the conversation by sharing your thoughts on 0809 440 981. 0809 440 981. That is the WhatsApp number. Yes, you can send your messages in and join us on the conversation. So let's get right into it. How important is it to actually license crypto exchanges?
Uh, so the cryptocurrency has gained widespread adoption in Nigeria, right? A lot of people, a lot of individuals are investing in cryptocurrencies, and because of how new it is in the financial system, I believe it's very, very important for the service providers, in quotes, I'll call them that for that's cryptocurrency exchanges
Okay.
to be watched, right? I think that's the right word I would use. Because over time in the world at large, we've had a lot of cryptocurrency exchanges. Like the most recent and most popular one was the FTX saga. It was one
Mm,
of the
mm.
biggest exchange in the world, apart from Binance. And they wound up and a lot of people lost their money.
It was a huge scandal.
Yeah, it affected me as well. Yeah,
Ah,
it
there
affected
we
me.
are.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like the role of the government to, foresee that people don't get into this kind of things, that these kind of things do not happen and people's funds are safe, right? Provided that there's been widespread adoption, I believe that it's very, very important. And I believe that the government is taking the right step, taking the step in the right direction to provide, regulation for the cryptocurrency exchanges. Yeah.
Okay, very, very important as you state as you stated that. So it's safe to say that the downsides of not licensing these exchanges are situations like the FTX and co that actually happened, where
Yeah.
unfortunately you said you were affected as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
That's one of the downsides. There are other downsides, right?
okay,
For
okay.
example, there was one period when my younger brother had like an issue with his Binance account, right? His Binance account was locked for in quotes specific reasons, which were not explicitly stated, right? And
Hmm.
it took a lot of back and forth and at some points were added to a group that had a lot of people that had similar issues. But at the end of the day, it wasn't actually sorted, right? Now, if it was a place where there were regulations, we know for a fact that such things will not just go scotch-free, right? In fact, you couldn't even raise any noise because who would you hold responsible? But in a case where there's regulation, in a case where there's a license that you have to purchase, then
Hmm.
the service provider starts to treat customers as very important because they know that they could be held liable if anything could go wrong. So yeah.
That is something very, very important to actually think about. Okay, now looking at the SEC, now that's the Securities and Exchanges Commission, wanting to license these crypto exchanges. We don't have any indigenous crypto exchanges here. So this means it'll be foreign exchanges who want to open wallets for Nigerians, yes?
Um, so I believe that if we look detailedly, there are indigenous crypto exchanges. Now, the circular that broke out on the 5th of February 2021, I was actually working in an indigenous exchange as at that time, right?
Okay.
5th of February 2021, where, the letter to deposit money banks and other financial institutions to not work directly with, cryptocurrency related, platforms, and they had to close down their accounts and stuff like that. All of that happened, and it really showed that the government was frowning towards cryptocurrencies. So the indigenous exchange I was working with that time had to go and take a license from a different country. So now they operate from that different
Ah,
country, but they are in Nigeria, but they are operating from that different country. So I believe if that could happen to them, then, it could happen to so many other indigenous exchanges. So what I'm trying to say is I'm not of the opinion that there are no indigenous exchanges. I am of the opinion that the indigenous exchanges have, like, because of the state of how it is, have been
mm,
forced to look for, comfort somewhere else. So yeah, that said, I feel like when there is proper regulation and it's like settled at the end of the day, it will be attractive, depending on what the outcome of the regulation is, to attract those, indigenous exchanges that have pulled out, or people who have been looking to explore building an indigenous exchange but could not have, right? When there's
right.
proper regulation, they know that, okay, this and this and this are the rules. And they can now say, okay, can we play around it? Can we partner? Can we merge? And all of that would happen. But I think it's going to create an attractive system, ecosystem for indigenous exchanges, as well as foreign investors as well.
That is good to hear. I mean, this is something that has been, floating all over the place for a while, and
Yeah,
like you said, a number of these indigenous exchanges have had to, should I say, seek succor outside the country.
yeah,
So, I mean, so hearing this now, they know that okay, they can actually operate from Nigeria, and of course, not
yeah,
have to do any of those long distance relationship sort of things from
exactly,
outside
exactly.
the country. Now, looking at this, I assume that they will pay some fees. So is this a revenue driver for the government as well?
So yeah, when that secular broke out on that 5th of February 2021, when I saw the secular, I happen to have a finance background, right? I studied finance and banking at the University of Port Harcourt, right? And one of the things that have interested me about cryptocurrencies, because I know the evolution of money, right? And knowing the evolution of money, I looked at cryptocurrencies. I was like, this is the next evolution, right? We're currently living in the revolution right now, but people do not even realize it. We are currently
Mm,
transitioning from fiat into cryptocurrencies, but people don't realize it. I felt like, instead of the government frowning towards this thing, they should pick people who are experts, right? Who have been in this for a while, bring them together, have consultations, right? And then, look for a way that they can, find opportunities in this instead of frowning altogether towards it. If you see the number of adoption that cryptocurrency has all over the world, you would know for a fact that this is not a market that is going away anytime soon. The
mm,
global cryptocurrency market at some point hit $2 trillion at some point, right?
wow.
So imagine, yes, it hit that kind of amount, and you're looking at it and you're thinking it's going to go away. It will not. Nigeria has one of the highest adoption rate of cryptocurrencies in Africa. If you check it, you would see it. Nigeria contributes over 50% of the traction that comes from cryptocurrencies generally in Africa. So what you would do is to look at it, look for opportunities to get in and look for a way it benefits the government. And I'm glad they are finally doing it, because it creates a whole new revenue stream for the government. So taxing on cryptocurrencies, taxing, licensing of crypto exchanges are ways, among so many other ways that it can be beneficial to the government.
All right, absolutely interesting perspective there. Now, I want to read you a couple of quotes from the chairman of the FIRS, that's Zach Adeyemi, concerning crypto. And I quote, "We set a target of 19.4 trillion naira for ourselves this year. We are almost in the third quarter of the year, and with the figures we are seeing so far, I can say we are on the path of achieving our target." Now, He further says, we cannot run away from the cryptocurrency ecosystem because it is the in thing. We need a law that regulates that area of our economy. And of course, that's Zach Adeyemi, the chairman of FIRS. Now, what regulation would you like to see? I mean, from the perspective of a player in the blockchain space, how can government and your community actually live in harmony where there's no friction?
Okay, so for example, this creating licensing for crypto exchanges is a very good step in the right direction, right? That's one. Now, apart from cryptocurrency exchanges, the government needs to also start exploring, other how will I call it? Other applications or other, companies,
Avenues?
other avenues or no other brands as well that
Okay.
integrate cryptocurrencies into their businesses, right?
Okay.
For
Okay.
example, let's say this is just an example, the likes of Spar, for example, or the likes of ShopRite want to create their own token, which from what we are seeing already in the ecosystem is happening really, really fast. Almost every brand is having something like an NFT or a token attached to it that gives their customers some specific access and brand and rights, right?
Mm,
These are things that are currently happening. The likes of Mercedes, I think, and the likes of I think Coca-Cola have created NFTs like over the past couple of years. This is also a branch of cryptocurrencies, right? They are called non-fungible
right.
tokens. So I feel like the government should also look at, how they can create an avenue for all this to come into the ecosystem. For example, if you have a smooth FM NFT where listeners or specific users of smooth FM are always like they have to purchase it to have exclusive rights to things. If I am an NFT holder, I can always breeze into the studio. I can look at things. I can attend live interviews. It becomes
Mm,
more
mm,
interesting, and I feel so special that as I hold an NFT, I become a much more valuable customer of Smooth FM. So this is
right.
an area that
Right.
has not been even touched at all. The only news that we're hearing, I mean, it's a step-by-step process, right? But
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
cryptocurrency exchange licensing is a right direction, right? And we
Mm,
believe that going forward, the government will also explore other options.
fantastic. Baby steps. You take steps before you begin to, run like Forrest
Yeah,
Gump. Let me
yeah.
round up with the message here from Taya. Taya says, I'm doubtful of the CBN involving itself in digital currencies. I wonder if the e-Naira is still up and running. Is the e-Naira still up and running, Larry?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. But there were news recently this year about the Inera being redeveloped and built on a different blockchain. I think was the Bantu blockchain thereabout. Bantu blockchain is a fork of the Stellar blockchain. Yeah, I think I saw news of that this year. I don't know how that's going, by the way, but I think it's still in the works.
Still in the works. Let's keep our fingers crossed and see what they actually cook up. Thank you so much for joining
Yeah,
me this morning, Lanre Adeyemi. He is the founder and chief visionary officer at Accendis. Very absolute pleasure having you this morning.
yeah. Thank you for having me.
All right, do have yourself a great Friday and a great weekend as well.
Yeah, bye.
And thank you all for being a part of Business Express this morning on the Smooth Breakfast. Keep it tuned to your Love Music, Love Life station. There's more great music, feel good Friday music coming up for you as we get along to 7:30 when we'll take a look at the headlines in the papers on Freshly Pressed.